Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Josh Holter, owner and founder of The Dude. Behind me, we're at The Dude Houston. You can come visit my storefront 9 a.m. to 4, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can see Patty down here being super cute and doing his thing. But yet again, I have another special guest for a video that I've been really looking forward to doing for a long time.
My name is Mariah Healey, and I'm the owner and author of ReptiFiles.com, where better reptile care begins.
And today, we are going to talk about reptiles and UVB and UVA. We're going to talk about why it's important, why UVB should be provided, as well as making sure that we're providing it correctly. And what we have for you today is as many brands as I was able to muster together. And we are going to take my solar meter that we have here to measure the output capacity of these bulbs. So that way we can show you guys what bulbs are able to put out the desired reach that we need for our pet reptiles and amphibians. And we have a lot of different fixtures here because different UVB bulbs need to make sure we use the correct type of fixtures, and Mariah and I are going to talk a little bit about that as well. So, Mariah, let's first cover the basics. Why is UVB and UVA so important with reptiles? How do they synthesize it? Hook us up.
So, UVB and UVA. So, if we look at the light spectrum, on the low end you have infrared, also known as heat. Then you get to visible light, which is the light that you and I can see. This contains the rainbow. Put the rainbow together, you get white light. Then on the higher end of the spectrum, you have ultraviolet. Humans can't see ultraviolet light, but reptiles sort of can, as well as several other animals. The first part of the ultraviolet spectrum is UVA. This is the weakest wavelength of UV, and it is actually an additional color for reptiles. Humans have 3 cones in our eyes or our retinas, so we can only see 3 colors, so to speak. Dogs, like Patty here, have 2. So while they can't see, they can see some color. They can't see color as well as we can. Reptiles have 4 cones, which means that they can see more color than we do. So kind of putting it relatively speaking, we can see about as much color compared to a reptile as a dog can compared to a human, roughly. So the vision part is a very big part of why you need UVA as part of your enclosure. Because otherwise, imagine a world without the color red. A lot of reptiles are stimulated to eat by certain colors in their environment, so you take that out and all of a sudden you get appetite issues as well as some mental health issues. UVB is a slightly stronger wavelength of ultraviolet, and this is where you get vitamin D synthesis. This is where you get, so humans can do this too. We go out in the sun, we expose ourselves to the sun, and we solar panel out, and our skin starts to convert a predecessor to vitamin D into vitamin D that is usable for our bodies. Vitamin D is a very important vitamin that has a lot of beneficial roles to play within a body. And as it is important for humans, it's also very important for reptiles. Yep. Yes, we can supplement, but the thing is, we don't know exactly how much to supplement for them. We don't even really know how much vitamin D a human needs to take.
Or let alone how much is in those supplements, because you can have toxicity from that, and it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, different calcium supplements have varying amounts of vitamin D in them. So some you're looking at a really low quantity, others you're looking at an astronomically high quantity. Yep. So you never know exactly what you're going to get. So to play it safe, it's better to use vitamin D and let the reptile synthesize the amount of vitamin D that it needs for its body from UVB exposure. But in order to do that, you need the right amount of UVB for that reptile. If you don't have enough, it won't be able to make enough vitamin D, and it won't be able to get the other many benefits that it has. And if you provide too much, then you can also start to see negative consequences. The least of which, yes,
you go outside and you get sunburned. It's a very similar principle in the aspect of damaging.
Yes, and You don't usually see this with reputable brands of bulbs, but something to be aware of is the other part of the ultraviolet spectrum, UVC. UVC is the strongest, fortunately, mostly filtered out through Earth's atmosphere. This is the stuff that is used to kill microbes in machines. Disinfecting lights, that's UVC. That stuff fries DNA and causes cancer with extended exposure. If you have a bulb that's accidentally producing UVC, you're slowly killing your reptile. It's really dangerous.
Yep.
So you have to be really mindful of where you're buying your bulbs from.
Yeah, and you know, and not on top of that, with what you're saying with the bulbs, not all bulbs are created equal. Yep. Not at all. We're gonna show you that, but that's not what we're doing in this video. We want to show you guys what we're measuring out of the box and how different fixtures can impact the performance of an above average bulb to function under average. Mm-hmm. Even if you're almost following the instructions we're going to show you guys, and we're also going to a little bit talk about how different things can filter out your UVB and UVA. So for example, a screen cage, you know, for your chameleons, you are filtering out a formidable amount of that UVA and UVB because of those screens. Mm-hmm. If you have a glass lid, you're filtering out pretty much all the UVB. The acrylic, you're filtering all of that out. So it's very, very important that when we utilize these fixtures in our, you know, reptile and amphibian habitats, that we are always keeping placement, fixture, and longevity in mind. Mm-hmm. Those are very, very, very important when dealing with, you know, UVB and things like that. So, you know, do we want to kind of get into it here?
Yes, let's.
Okay, so let's start with the power suns in the solar probe. Are you okay with that?
Yes. All right, so mercury vapor bulbs. So mercury vapor bulbs work a little bit different from your usual fluorescent. These produce both heat and UVB, which is why a lot of people are attracted to them because it's convenient. Oh, do we have a glove around here that I can use? I'd rather not get my skin oils on the bulbs.
That's why we have them here. You hear that? Skin oils on these bulbs. Mm-hmm.
Especially for any bulb that produces heat, you are going to want to avoid direct contact between your skin and the bulb itself because that will shorten its lifespan.
Yep. So we're gonna put that. No, this is an Exoterra deep dome fixture.
Okay,
Zoomed manufactures these bulbs as well, which do work. There it is. All right. So next, what we're gonna do. So on average, what I was told that these put out right around the 5% mark. So what we're gonna look at is these bulbs. They're good for about 6 months. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing you want to keep in mind is reptiles do not bask all day. They only bask at specific portions of their day to get through, you know, to do what they want. So this should not be your only source of UVB if you're using it. It is a great additional source to be able to rock and roll, but it should never, in my opinion, it shouldn't be your only source of UVB for your pet reptiles and amphibians.
Agreed, yes.
But it is very convenient to be able to offer UVB in the basking spot as well, you know, when in conjunction to put your fluorescent strip on the other side of the enclosure, so when they're not basking, they're still getting it.
Yes. So this is cool. This bulb comes with a full instruction sheet, which is awesome.
Yep.
This has a lot of information on Ferguson zones, which we're not going to go into today too deeply, as well as some distance stuff. So this says for this bulb that kind of a danger zone, let's see, which wattage are we using? 80 watts. So danger zone is going to be 0 to 4 inches. High UVB exposure is going to be between 4 to 6 inches. Moderate 6 inches to 16, and minimum UVB from 16 to 20 inches, or 26 inches. 26 inch. Okay, so, and this also depends, you've got to, depending on how far away the bulb is from the animal, not only just what is obstructing, like screen, but distance is a very important factor as well. So we are going to get out the tape measure right here, and we are going to put it over the table. And we're basically going to replicate the conditions a little bit inside your reptile's enclosure.
We're going to be about 6 inches above right now.
And see, okay,
let's
in
see
your reptile's enclosure, how
much UVB are we getting in 6 inches?
Actually being produced. Okay, so this is 6 inches about here. No, give me a sec. Okay, so this is going to be 6 inches here. Okay. Now, the solar meter is about and get 6 inches above the solar meter. So put where my thumb is, right there.
Got it.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna put the solar meter directly underneath it and press this button here to get a reading. At about 6 inches under, now this is not super scientific, we are seeing a UVI reading, so UV index. It's the same that's used by, I think, the World Health Organization to determine your danger of sunburn. So we're looking at about high 5s, almost 6.0, so 5.8 to 6.0. That is a pretty dang high UVI for 6 inches. Do we want to continue further?
I'm so sorry. I was trying to get the...
You're fine. So, all right, most people don't keep their reptiles 6 inches away from the basking spot, especially without any mesh. Mesh is going to filter anywhere between like 30 to 60%
I shouldn't have turned it off.
of your, it's fine.
Because now it's like slowly building back up to turn back on, because that's what they do.
That's a good point. Do we want to try a different one while it's warming back up?
Yep, that's what I'll do.
Okay.
So I'm gonna leave that right there.
So
Right
another
like
thing
that.
to be aware of with mercury vapor bulbs is when they overheat, they automatically turn off, which can be worrying for a lot of people.
Yep.
This is why personally, not my favorite thing to use for heat, just because they can be a little unreliable in that respect, but they can also be very beneficial when used correctly. Honestly, that's going to be the theme of today, is when used correctly.
So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take this out,
All right.
and I'm gonna open up the Solar Glow.
All right, let's get
And then
that
we'll
out.
compare the Solar Glow with this one, and then I'll put this one back in for the distance.
And there goes our fixtures.
That's okay. Fixtures are doing just fine. So Solar Glow. And again, you can open this up here and you see the warnings.
Beneficial literature, guys, read the instructions
Yes.
when you open these. It's going to be either inside the box or it's going to be on the box. Read the instructions for proper use.
Yep. And then again, you see Exoterra's information about the Solar Glow here. And then you can see this bulb is a little bit bigger as well. The exact same wattage, but it has a lot more girth to it.
Interesting.
Yes.
Which means we're going to get a bigger basking area.
Yep,
So
which-
that's going to be important for
Yep.
larger species.
And this also means that we need a bigger fixture, but I don't have another fixture right now. However, you see how the bottom end of the bulb is sticking out here at the base, which means we would need a bigger dome to be able to handle this bulb. But for today's purposes, since we're only testing, and it also, you can also see that the light is a little bit, so it's about the same color, but it does look a little bit yellowisher.
Yeah, it's a little bit warmer, it looks
Yep.
like. This brand has a really cool feature where they rate how much UVB, reptile vision, human vision, and heat is going to be provided by one of their bulbs in a really easy chart. You have their spectrum here, and then they have their distance chart here. So let's see here. They're not providing exact UVI approximations, but let's compare at 6 inches again and just see relatively what we're looking at. All right, so if we put the solar meter here, then 6 inches above that, and then keep it on afterward.
Got it.
All right, so 6 inches, where my thumb is, please. So just a little lower, there we go. Okay. Now, these aren't going to be perfect measurements because this isn't a perfectly controlled situation, but we are doing our best. All right, we are seeing a UVI that is much, much higher.
Yep.
Actually, this is reading at, yikes, your hand's shaking a little bit and that's changing a few things. But if I try to put this directly under the bulb at 6 inches, we're looking at a UVI of 48. I cannot believe that. That's
Holy
insane.
cow.
So you do not want to use this bulb this close to your reptile. So let's lift it to about 18 inches above. All right, so where is our 18 inches? 1 foot and 6 inches. There we go. Okay, so can you raise to my thumb level, please? Okay. So we're at roughly 18 inches now. A lot of people use this as their basking distance. Let's try this again. UVI of about 9.5 to 10.
Holy
roughly.
cow, at 18 inches, we're still getting that much of a reading.
A lot. So this one you need a big enclosure for.
I'm so glad we did this because I'm going to put that right on my website. Can I turn this off?
Yes. I think
So
we
guys,
have
what I'm going to do is
we
I'm
need.
going to turn this off and let me, okay.
Yeah, if we could, one of these days, something I would really like to do is to kind of replicate Dr. Francis Baines' work a little bit with a variety of UVB bulbs and fixtures. It would be an enormous project, but in a controlled situation to see what modern bulbs and modern fixtures are doing,
What they say they're safe.
and what they're safe for. Because a lot has changed since her initial experiment, and we're learning every day. A really great group on Facebook is called Reptile Lighting, where there are people discussing this all the time.
Yep. Okay,
So if you're
I put
passionate
this
about
over
proper
here.
lighting, that's the place to go. Okay, great. So next.
This one right here is still warming up. When it does, I'll put it over here, we'll be ready for
Okay,
it.
so let's talk about a fluorescent real quick.
Okay, so we have T8s rocking and rolling here, and then we also have T5s, and then we also have the CFLs. So I'm assuming the CFLs are what we want to discuss next.
Well, since that is occupied, let's
Okay.
not use the coil. So you've got coils and you've got compacts. We don't have any compacts here today, but a compact is where it's folded, and a coil is a spiral.
Yep.
And they both more or less have the same properties. You have essentially what's kind of like a T5 bulb, but it's been folded on itself. So this can produce some really intense UV in theory, but only at short distances.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, yay, it's on.
All right, so we're gonna
alright,
go
back
18
to
inches. So this
18
is the
inches.
ZoomEd Power Sun UVB, guys. This is the 80 watt.
So stick this directly under more or less in our super scientific way. Not really. Please don't get after me. All right. A little higher. We need to get it at about here. Yep, okay, so that's roughly 18 inches. Let's compare and make sure it's directly under. Okay. Whoo, okay, we've got a UV index of 0.2. This is basically nothing. Do not use this bulb at this distance for any reptile.
Okay, good to know.
At least for your basking distance. It's all about a gradient. This would be good for a smaller enclosure.
Yep, that they're 8 to 10 inches away or 6 inches away. Okay, cool.
All
Next,
right.
let's rock and roll. So we do have. Do we want to start talking about the?
Yeah, we may as well now that we have that.
So
available.
we have two different types here. We have. If I recommend UVB to people, it is almost never these. If I'm going to be completely honest. However, this is the UVB on a budget, and we're going to show you guys kind of how this is. So first, we're going to start with the Flukers brand. So this is a 5.0 UVB. Now, Mariah, do we have to be careful with the fixture, like with the?
We should.
Okay.
It's good practice. Not as important since they don't put out as much heat, but still good practice.
You can see here 5.0, 13 watt. So we're gonna do the same test here. So this is meant for tropical species like your crested geckos, your day geckos.
A lot of people will use these UVB bulbs in a dome because they can fit in a dome.
Yep.
What we're going to compare is the performance between a dome and a fixture like this, where it has the bulb mounted horizontally instead of vertically.
Yep, and being used, how these two different fixtures can dramatically potentially affect the output of the bulb itself.
Okay, so I think we've been doing 6 inches,
Yep.
so let's just do that again. So 6 inches from the top of the solar meter is going to be there. And, oh, you just dropped it. Keep it in the same place. Yep, right there. Yep. And, okay, we've got 2.4. Okay, that's so 2.4 between 2.7 is roughly what I was seeing. That's a pretty, fairly high UVI measurement in terms of how much to be consistently providing, but that's still a good amount. So let's raise that to 12 and see what the difference is. So every type of reptile has a different amount of UVI or UV index that you need to be shooting for. So something that needs between 2 and 3, this might be a good choice for using at 6 inches. However, we increase that distance to 12 inches and suddenly we are getting about 1.0 instead. Maybe a basking spot 6 inches below the bulb, and then it's getting UVB the rest of the way if it has a higher UV need. Okay, let's switch to this fixture.
Got
it. Okay, so this is a slightly less reflective fixture, but instead of projecting the light downward, which a coil is going to be actually at a disadvantage because that's not how they're made to be used. Coils and compacts are made to be used horizontally like so.
This is on this. These fixtures, they were manufactured for these bulbs.
Yep. Okay, so let's start with the 6 inches again for comparison. So that's gonna be right here. All right, directly underneath the bulb, aligning, and press the button. Oh, interesting. I'm seeing less UVB. This is really fascinating. Now this could be because, so that's 1.4, 1.5. This particular fixture has a less reflective lining, so if you want to turn it off real quick. Whoop.
Oh, no, that's my fault.
There we go. So this is less reflective or less shiny than the inside of this one. Shininess matters. You want a reflector with your UV because otherwise there's going to be a lot of wasted light that happens.
It has nowhere to reflect back down into your terrarium.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn this back on, and we'll
All right,
go at a
it'll be
little.
12 inches.
We'll go at a little bit higher.
And see what we get there. And again, guys, I just want to remind you, this is not a formal scientific
No, it's
test.
not. This is just her and I
casual.
having fun, trying to show you guys.
This is how we have fun, guys. I know we're lame. Don't make fun of us. Okay. So a little lower to my thumb, please. Okay, and then actually let's make a tish lower. So bring it to here because the bulb is slightly recessed in the fixture. Okay, that should be about 12 inches away from the bulb itself. And press the button. 0.8. Not as severe as of a drop off, but again, we're seeing again at roughly 50%, which is a really good amount. So this would be, in this particular fixture, you might be seeing, you know, a lower UVB species would be very happy with this.
Yes. Okay, so next, let me go and get the 10.0 out here, so that way we can take a look at that.
All right, so that was a 5.0.
Yep, for tropical.
Or tropical.
So did it even reach? So it didn't even reach the 5 at all.
Actually, fun fact, this is a really good thing that I'm glad you brought up. So these numbers don't correspond with UV index. These are actually more like percentages that are very specific to the brand of bulb itself. It means nothing except relative to the brand.
Yep.
So we're not looking at, you know, we're not looking for a 5.0 UVI at a certain distance. What we're looking for is more of a half versus full kind of relationship here. So usually you're going to see a 5.0 or a 50 rated or a 100 in the case of some brands. It's all relative. The tropical bulb is going to have a lower UVI than the desert.
All right, so now we have the desert bulb.
Okay, so we should be seeing a much higher
increase of
output for species that need it. So all right, 6 inches above. So yep, just get that there. Okay, and it is a little recessed too, but not as bad. Okay, we are seeing, oh, that's interesting. Let me just make sure that's aligned directly underneath. 1.8, so not as big of a difference.
Nope.
All right, let's switch. This is fascinating.
It really is neat because that was almost no difference than that.
Yeah,
it was like a point.
even though it's supposed to be significantly stronger.
Yep.
Okay, let's get this out of the way so it's not interfering too much. Okay, and comparing at same distance for time reasons. Okay, roughly 6 inches. Yep. And get it under and go. Whoa, that was a big difference. Now we're looking at 3.4, 3.5.
That's a huge difference. Yet this reflector in here is not near as shiny as the other one.
But for some reason, it was performing a lot better as soon as we mounted it horizontally.
That's very interesting. Okay, so what else we got rocking and rolling here? So I like that we covered. Let's show we got another brand here of the Zilla. So for the Zilla, we have the Tropical, which is their competitive version of this. It's the same wattage. They're saying it's the same.
But is it the same?
But is it the same? What you can also see is the fixture's a lot bigger. The coil's a little bit different.
That's enormous.
Yep. I don't even know if this can go in there. We're gonna find out.
Jeez. Okay.
All right, so we'll put this bad boy right in here.
All right. Well, it's a very cool light.
It's very this color is different. It almost looks. It doesn't have that warm color.
No, not at all. This is definitely on the kind of higher end of the color spectrum. All right, that's about the distance we're looking for. Aligning as best as I can. that's virtually nothing. We're looking at 0.4. That is, I mean, we can raise it, but we're gonna get like nothing at 12
I'm not even
inches.
gonna bother.
Let's not bother. Will it fit in this fixture? If not, we'll just have to skip it. But okay,
so I would not use this bulb in this type of fixture because you see how thick it is right here. This is going to be sitting right on the screen. It's a big time fire hazard, guys. So for that sake, I'm not even going to put this in here.
Yeah, no.
I don't even want to show you guys about putting this bulb in there. Now let's see how this one does. This is 7 watts higher.
All right, wattage does not necessarily correspond to UVB strength either. It's just about the amount of energy that the bulb itself is consuming.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, so we got this.
Okay. So hopefully this one will be a significantly higher output. But is it within a more acceptable range is the question. So we're gonna align it and no, absolutely not.
What
We're
does it
looking
say?
at 0.5. There is virtually no difference between those bulbs.
There you have it.
That's
okay.
disappointing. Wow. Okay.
All
this
right.
is fun.
So next, let's rock and roll with. Let's do this. Let's start with TH, but let's do. This is probably one of the most common ones that you're gonna find at PetSmart, Petco, your big time chain stores.
Yes.
This fixture comes out of the box not ready to use, and I'm going to show you guys why.
Ooh, perfect.
You see this right here? This will filter out 100% of your UVA and UVB, almost all of it.
Yeah, almost all. It's not
Almost
100,
all. I
but
shouldn't say
almost all of
100,
it.
but so let's show you guys.
Oh,
We're gonna do it through this, and then I'm gonna
which bulb
rip
is-
this off. This is the desert.
Okay. So while we're getting that set up, I want to talk about Ferguson zones real quick because we keep talking about UV index or UVI, but we don't talk about what these numbers mean. So desert species need a higher UV index than tropical species. However, keep in mind where they live does not relate to exactly how much UVB they need. It's what microhabitat they live in and what time of day they're most active.
Their behavior.
Yep. So you might see a tropical species, like say a chameleon, that needs a higher UVI than a desert species that isn't active in the middle of the day, say a leopard gecko. So one is going to be, so we've got 4 zones here. Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, Zone 4. Zone 4 is super high UV index. This is, they're called like sun worshippers. These guys bask a ton. They need a lot of heat and a lot of UVB.
Yep.
Then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got like albino animals or crepuscular species that need very little UVB to get by, where you're seeing a 1.0 UVI. So keep that in mind as we keep going about what we're kind of referencing in terms of these numbers and what you're looking for.
Let's see if I look like a fool here.
Okay. Oh man. So this is not an optimal situation to be measuring with. However, let's just get it over there and we are going to give it its best shot.
And then I'm gonna rip off this cover, and then we'll see how much the cover blocks, if it blocks anything.
Okay, so we are getting, okay, a little higher, please. Okay. No way. This might be a special plastic.
Get out
I'm
of here.
getting 3.7, 3.8.
Get out of here.
3.9.
I am a fool. All right, hold up. Check
What does
this
that
out.
package say? Does that plastic actually permit UV to pass?
I don't know.
Those plastics do exist, but I'm surprised that it's present. Well, it's gone now. Wow. Well, that's cool.
That is cool. I had no idea. That's when I first got into this hobby, that's what I was taught. Was if there's
Same.
any plastic, an excessive amount of screen X, Y, and Z covering it, you better compensate. All right,
Okay, well,
here we go.
let's
The
see if
exact
there's a
same
difference.
distance. Let's see if there's a difference.
Okay, so back to the 6 inches that we were doing before. So, all right, a little higher, please. All right.
Okay, let's see here.
It is higher.
How
We're
much?
getting about 5.0. So it's blocking some, but not all.
Not all of it. That's very interesting.
Very
I feel like the fool for saying, well, then it's going to block 100%. Well, it blocked about 20%, but that's still 20% that we're missing out. So
Yep.
make sure if you go with this fixture, you rip off that plastic. They honestly did that for probably fire safety, prevent themselves from getting sued
That's very
for someone
likely.
burning their house down. Okay, so next we have more T8s. So I have two different brands here of the T8s. We have the Reptisun 10.0. I'm so sorry I don't have the Reptisun 5. I have a T5 Reptisun 5 over here, which I'll show you guys in a little bit, but we also have two Exoterra brands. Now for the T8 fixture, I have the Exoterra linear top right here, which is nice because it can hold two different fixtures. You could put a plant bulb in here that's a T8, and you could put a UVB bulb in here that's a T8, which can be really beneficial for live terrariums. But let's see how beneficial these bulbs are, shall we? So how about we start with the Reptile UVB 100.
Okay.
So this is, as you can see right here, put this in here. I'm trying not to. And I'm a fool. I gotta go grab the smaller ones.
All right.
That's my fault.
No problem.
While we're
So
doing
while
that,
we're waiting,
yeah. Go ahead.
let's talk about T8 versus T5. So when we're talking T8 versus T5, we're talking about the difference in the diameter of the bulb. So a T5 is going to be a lot narrower than a T8 is. That's the visual difference right there, is one is smaller than the other. However, the T5HO, or high output, is newer technology and puts out more UV than a T8 of supposedly the same strength will do. There's a common rumor that a T5HO bulb can punch through mesh and provide the same amount of UVB without you having to worry about mounting the bulb below the mesh or without any kind of other thing obstructing it because it's strong enough not to be affected. This is not true. All UVB bulbs are affected by obstacles between them and the reptile that needs to be receiving the UVB. However, yes, the T5HOs are stronger, so you're going to get more under the mesh than you would with a T8, but it is still going to be limited. So with certain species like bearded dragons, you might want to consider still installing that fixture below the mesh rather than above. However, distance and obstacles are going to be critical to what you're looking for. So quick plug for solar meters, by the way. So this is what we are using to measure UV index, and I highly recommend any serious reptile keeper also get a solar meter 6.5 for themselves. This measures UVI, which means that you don't have to guess how much UV your reptile is getting. You don't have to, make approximations based on, well, there's mesh present and it's a certain distance, so it should be around here. Making those approximations can be dangerous. The only way to know and to make sure how much UV your reptile is receiving is to have a solar meter in hand and check your UV regularly at the level that your reptile is receiving it. So highly recommend there. All right, let's move on.
Cool. So I got a T8 fixture right here. So these take the 12-inch bulbs. That was my fault, guys. I just grabbed the wrong fixture. So what I have right here is the Reptile UVB 100 made by Exoterra. So this is for them, their tropical version, and I'm using this T8 Zilla bulb.
Okay, let's get these out of the
Or
way.
Zilla fixture, excuse me.
That's the same thing. All right. Okay, not really, but for our purposes. What do we need? There is video to aid.
I need to put on a pair of gloves. I'm so sorry.
You are fine. Another thing to think about is UVB bulbs often have a burn-in period.
Yes.
So you need to give them time before they start performing as advertised. Okay.
It's what, 100 hours?
I want to say it's 40, but I could be wrong.
Oh,
It might
okay.
be 100 hours. I would have to double check there. Okay, stick this directly underneath. Let's get it to 6 inches. That a little higher. Yep. And 1.5. So that is between Ferguson zone 1 and 2. All right, and that's going to drop off if we get it to 12 inches. But so if you have a crepuscular species, you're more likely to have it at 12 inches or more above the animal. So that's going to be about here. And we're seeing 0.6. Not much at all, but for a crepuscular species, that might be where you need to be with that gradient.
Good.
Providing places in the enclosure that are closer to the UVB, closer to the heat source, and places that are further away. It's all about that gradient. Same for humidity, same for heat.
Okay, next we have the Reptisun 10.0, the #1 fluorescent UVB reptile lamp worldwide. That's quite the claim.
It really is.
Let's see.
This is a go-to for many, many reptile keepers. Now this is their more outdated product. It's actually getting very difficult.
Pain in the ass to get in here. It's okay.
It is getting more difficult to find T8s. The industry is almost entirely switching over to T5s. Okay, a little lower to where my fingers are, and yep, out there. And let's see what we're doing. 2.7, 2.8. Okay, that's a big difference compared to the other brand.
Yep, that's a big,
all right,
big
now let's raise it to 12 inches. Okay, to where my fingers are, please. Okay. Roughly 12 inches above, we are seeing 1.0, 1.1. All right, that's about as expected. That's actually pretty good. There's less of a drop off.
That's better than what I
Yeah, so that's very
anticipating.
solid zone 1, zone 2. There's a really cool tool that you can use on Arcadia's website. It's their lighting guide. And so you just type in what species of reptile you keep, and then it shows you what UVI your reptile needs,
Okay.
which is really awesome.
So first I want to show you guys, I have an Arcadia shade dweller here. That is a 7%. This fixture here has been going for 6 months. Let's see how we're doing for 6 months, and then we'll put in a new one.
Okay.
And then,
this will be fun.
we can see the difference.
Okay, so at 6 months, this bulb should be well burnt in, but halfway toward replacement.
Yep. So and then we're gonna see what does halfway towards replacement look like versus what does brand new out of the box look like.
Alrighty, let's see.
And I'm using my BioDo 12-inch solar grow fixture to house these T5 bulbs, just so y'all know.
Okay, a little higher, please. Okay, and okay, just a touch lower. There we go. Now, these are great fixtures. They're really super reflective. It's basically a mirror finish, which is what you're really looking for. All right, we're seeing 2.8, 2.7. That's great.
Yep, that's really good.
Yeah, that's very much within, between Ferguson zone 2 and 3. Very safe area to be for a crepuscular species, which is what this lamp is advertised for. Okay, let's raise it to 12 inches and see what we get. All right. Yep. Angle, downward, good. Okay, and 1.1. All right, yep, that's a good range to be, and these are often used if you're using a tall enclosure, like you have a gecko, or an arboreal gecko rather, then yeah, this could be awesome. That is performing really well.
And you can see how we're starting to gain some
Yeah,
wear.
get those age spots.
Now we have a brand new shade dweller.
Okay, let's see how it does. The suspense is killing me. Not really, but you know, you say stuff like that to hype people up, right?
That's
okay.
right. All right, here we go.
All right, we've got 6 inches out. Okay, brand new, we are seeing a 2.3 output at that distance. So we're looking, let's see, was that lower than before? I think it was slightly lower.
I think it's slightly.
Interesting, so that burn-in period looks like it's gonna get higher. Okay, let's move it up to 12 inches. Yeah, I am not a lighting expert, guys. All right. Roughly level, get it aligned. 1.2. So honestly, not that big of a difference between the new and a 6-month-old bulb. Really
That's impressive.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super impressive.
Very, very impressive. Okay.
Now there's a rumor going around that with Arcadia bulbs, as long as you are using it with a solar meter to make sure that your UVI does not drop off to dangerous levels for your species, you might be able to use good quality T5HO UVB for longer than 12 months, which is the recommended time. Do not do that unless you have a solar meter and are monitoring your UV levels. Because yes, that's really awesome and convenient, but it's also a dangerous practice when you are not keeping tabs on that output.
And you can see the mirror reflective in this.
Yeah, you can see
So,
yourself in it.
Now we got
Wanna say hi,
a
Christina?
Reptisun 10.0
Alrighty.
T5.
So this thing is gonna be strong.
Yes, it is.
See, it's even got a picture of a Euromastix on it.
So they're insinuating that this is for animals that love a lot of humidity.
All right, so a lot of
Or a lot of humidity, a lot of
heat, lots of
a lot of
UV.
heat, a lot of UV. What am I thinking?
Sun worshippers. Okay, so please bring it to where my fingers are. Okay, a little bit lower. There we go. If I don't shift this thing all over the place. 7.1. Whoo! Yep. At 6 inches, that's about to be expected. That is close.
That is a beast of a bulb right there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's bring it up to 12 inches and see how we are doing. Just gonna. It's easier to do it from here, so a little higher. Okay, just a touch lower. Okay.
See that mild flickering.
Yeah, the flickering is driving me crazy.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that.
Might be a power thing right now. I wonder if the socket's being weird. Okay, 3.3. That's a much safer regular area for a zone 4 reptile to be. They can take higher levels between 5 and 7, as the little graphic on the solar mirror indicates. But for average exposure over the course of a day, about 3.0 is a pretty safe place to be.
Let me show you guys some. One of the most important things that they changed with this bulb is that right there.
Yep.
That right there. Okay.
Means high quality.
Does. Okay. Next we have the 5. This is the smaller one. This is the 5%.
Okay, so this
So we're
is
gonna
the
try-
immense bulb for crepuscular species, generally speaking.
Yes, that's right. All right.
And
so
shade
we're gonna-
dwellers, which is why the Arcadia is called the shade dwellers, because
Yep.
it's for reptiles that like the shade.
Okay.
And amphibians. I'm not going to exclude the amphibians. We love our amphibians. I'm just not an expert on amphibians. Okay, moving a little closer. Okay, there we go. And 2.3.
Okay.
All right, very solid.
That's about what-
pretty similar to the
I gotta say, Reptisun's really up their game,
Yeah,
because it wasn't before.
they've been good for a number of years. But yeah, it definitely looks like they're performing better. Okay, a little higher, please. All right, there. Put that under. And I'm hoping that my super white skin does not interfere with these readings too much. I'm a human reflector, guys. All right, 1.3.
Okay.
Yep, very good output for a 5.0.
So let's go and let's test out this Arcadia 14%. That's what I'm excited to see. So
Yes.
this is one of the strongest bulbs on the market. They say that you need to keep your reptile pretty far away from this bulb because of the amount of rays that it puts out. So
Yep.
this is, good for your very large enclosures with your tortoises, your
These
iguanas.
are typically recommended to by the manufacturer to be used at 18 to 24 inches away
That's
from
it,
high basking species.
Yep.
So say bearded dragon, Euromastix, that kind of thing. So we're going to measure at a higher distance, 18 and 24 inches, to see.
How we're
What?
rocking and rolling
Yes,
here.
that is a big distance, but as we're striving to provide better reptile husbandry, that means bigger enclosures, and that
Yep.
means we need a proportionally more powerful UVB to be able to cope with that.
Okay, and this is a big fixture here.
All right, so we're bringing this up to 18 inches first. Okay, that's going to be about here. So where my fingers are. All right, stop. Okay, and let's even this out so it's not tilted toward the camera. All right, that's roughly the same distance. Okay, we are seeing 2.2, 2.3. Okay, that's less than I was expecting. Interesting. Let's bring it up to 24 inches.
This is a brand new bulb right out of the box.
Man, my arms are not this long. Okay, that's because I'm past the 2 foot mark is why. Doy. All right.
Perfect.
My fingers are. All right. So maximum height recommended for this bulb. 2.1. 71. What?
Wow, so we went that much higher and there's...
Really? Okay, I'm just going to have some fun now. I'm going to try to keep it along the same line. Okay, so this close to the bulb, we're seeing 23, dropping it down, 14, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Wow.
Wow,
That's
that was
amazing.
fun.
Guys, I really enjoyed showing you all these so far. This is really, really interesting.
What else do we have left?
Let's get, we have time for one more.
Okay.
And we are going to do the 6%.
Okay, the Arcadia 6%.
That's
All
right.
right.
And
so this is their equivalent to the other brand's tropical bulbs.
Yep.
It should be a little weaker than the Shade Dweller, but overall, still a good bulb for crepuscular and shade preferring species. All right, and I'll try not to mutilate our tape measure by stepping on it.
Okay, here we go.
Woohoo. This is always the nerve-wracking part for me when I'm installing UVB. I'm
Yeah,
worried
it's
it
like, I
twists
don't
too
wanna
hard and
break
it's
it
going to
over my
shatter. I'm like,
fingers.
there goes $40.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so this one is meant to be used at a standard distance of 12 to 18 inches. So I probably should have been doing this before, but let's start with the 12 inches. Okay, 12 inches, about here. Just raise that just a smidge higher and then lower that end. It's a little high. Okay, and we're gonna stick it in the center. 2.2. Okay, and 18 inches from the bulb. Okay, a little higher, please. Okay, just a touch lower. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, approximately 18 inches. We are looking at 1.7, 1.8. All right, yeah, that is a very good range
Yes,
for
it is.
crepuscular species.
It's a very, very, very good range. Well, we showed you guys a lot of different options. We did not show them all. There are so many more brands
There are
out there.
tons.
But what we hope to accomplish in this video is just give you guys an understanding of how they work so you know what you're getting. Because it's really easy to get something and think you're getting the right thing, and sometimes that isn't the case.
It's true.
But
So be sure to follow the instructions. If you can, get a solar meter 6.5.
yep, and as far as solar meters are concerned, you can get them on BioDude, Reptile Basics. There's a lot of different, companies that readily sell these online. They're usually around $165 to $225 depending on which ones you get, but it's worth every penny. And again, guys, my name's Josh Halter, owner and founder of the BioDude. You can come to my store here in Houston Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2. I always have all these different types of different UVBs available, with exception of a few on the table that I will always continue to carry. And again, on ReptiFiles, Mariah has a full extensive catalog of all the different types of UVB that the critters need, as well as, really good articles that, elaborate a little bit about what we talked about. So
Yep. Every care guide has specific brand and strength recommendations for UVB, and every care guide recommends UVB for any reptile.
Yep. And again, guys, really, really appreciate the support. Really hope you enjoyed the videos. I loved having you here, Mariah. It was so much fun.
It was a blast.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to have been here.
Yeah. And all right, guys, thank you so much. The Dude abides.